My fiancé told his groomsman I was too embarrassing and pathetic to be seen with at our wedding, all while I was hiding in a bathroom stall during our rehearsal dinner. He had no idea I recorded everything and planned to play it during our ceremony the next day instead of my vows. I'm 26 years old, and until 3 days ago, I was a wedding planner. The irony isn't lost on me. I've spent the last 4 years creating perfect days for couples, believing in love stories and happily ever afters. I thought I was getting my own fairy tale with Marcus, my fiancé of 8 months. We've been together for 2 years, and I genuinely believed he was the one. Marcus is 29, works in commercial real estate, and comes from what I thought was a good family. He's charming, successful, and everyone always told us we made a beautiful couple. I'm not going to lie, I loved hearing that. I've always been self-conscious about my appearance, especially my weight. I'm not model thin, I'm curvy, and I've struggled with body image issues since high school. Marcus always said he loved my body exactly as it was, that I was perfect to him. The wedding was supposed to be this weekend. I had planned every detail myself. Obviously, it was going to be at the Riverside Manor, this gorgeous venue with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the lake. I booked the best vendors, chose the perfect flowers, and designed invitations that took me weeks to get right. The guest list was 180 people, both our families, all our friends, and even some of Marcus's business associates. I was so proud of how everything was coming together. The rehearsal dinner was Friday night at the same venue. I'd arranged for it to be in the smaller dining room, intimate and elegant. Marcus's parents, Richard and Patricia, were hosting, and they'd spared no expense. His groomsmen were there, Tyler, Brandon, and Jake, guys he'd known since college. They're all real estate agents, too, part of his inner circle. I'd never really clicked with them, but I tried to be friendly for Marcus's sake. I was wearing this navy blue dress that I'd spent weeks finding, something that made me feel confident and beautiful. My sister, Zoe, was there as my maid of honor, along with my parents and a few close friends. Everything was going perfectly. Marcus was laughing with his friends, toasting our future and telling everyone how lucky he was. I felt like the luckiest woman in the world. The dinner was amazing. Everyone was relaxed, happy, and sharing stories about Marcus and me. His father gave a speech about how proud he was of his son and how I was the perfect addition to their family. My dad talked about how Marcus had asked for his blessing the old-fashioned way. I was glowing, thinking about how this time tomorrow, I'd be married to the man of my dreams. After the main course, I excused myself to touch up my makeup. The bathroom was down a hallway near the kitchen, away from the main dining area. It was one of those fancy, single-stall bathrooms with a thick wooden door. I was in there for maybe 5 minutes, fixing my lipstick and making sure everything looked perfect for the photos we'd planned to take after dinner. That's when I heard them. I was about to open the door when I heard Marcus's voice in the hallway, along with his groomsmen. They must have stepped out for air or a smoke break. I paused with my hand on the door handle, smiling because I was about to surprise them. Then, I heard what they were actually saying. "Dude, you sure about this?" That was Tyler's voice. "Like, really sure?" "What do you mean?" Marcus asked, but his tone was different. Not the warm, loving voice I knew. It was flat, almost annoyed. "Come on, man. Sophia's. I mean, she's nice and all, but..." Tyler trailed off. "But what?" Marcus's voice was sharp now. "She's not exactly, wedding material for you, anyway." That was Brandon. "You could do so much better." I froze. My heart started pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I pressed myself against the bathroom door, trying to hear better while staying hidden. "Look, I know what you guys think," Marcus said, and I held my breath, waiting for him to defend me. "But she's got other qualities. She's stable. She's got her own business. She's not high maintenance like the girls I used to date." "But dude, she's embarrassing," Jake said. "Did you see her at the office Christmas party? She was practically stuffing her face at the buffet. And that dress. It was not doing her any favors." My blood turned to ice. I remembered that party. I'd been so nervous meeting his colleagues that I'd barely eaten all day. When we got to the party, I was starving. And yes, I'd eaten at the buffet. And I'd loved that dress. Marcus had told me I looked beautiful in it. "She's just pathetic, Tyler continued. "Like, she tries so hard to fit in with us, but she's just not on our level. Tomorrow's going to be painful to watch." "The wedding photos alone," Brandon laughed. "Good luck explaining those to your future clients." "Hey, remember when Marcus married the whale?" They all laughed. Every single one of them. Including Marcus. I know, Marcus said, and I could hear the smile in his voice. "But look, it's not forever. She's got that wedding planning business, she's got some money saved up. I'm thinking to Maybe 3 years max. Then I'll have enough saved to really start fresh. Find someone who actually fits the image I'm going for. So, this is like a business transaction? Jake asked. Pretty much. She worships the ground I walk on. She'll do anything to make me happy, and she's got connections in the wedding industry that could help my real estate networking. It's not love, but it's practical. And the sex? Brandon asked, and they all laughed again. Let's just say I close my eyes and think of the future, Marcus said. Besides, she's so grateful for any attention that she doesn't exactly have high standards. I thought I was going to throw up. I pressed my back against the bathroom door, sliding down until I was sitting on the floor. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone, but somehow, I managed to open the voice recording app. I hit record just as Marcus continued talking. The thing is, she's so insecure that she believes whatever I tell her. I tell her she's beautiful, she glows for days. I tell her I love her cooking, she spends hours in the kitchen. It's actually kind of sad how desperate she is for validation. So tomorrow? Tyler asked. Tomorrow, I smile, say my vows, and start the countdown. 2 years of playing the devoted husband, building my client base, saving money. Then I'll find some reason to leave her. Probably say we grew apart or something. She'll be devastated, but she'll get over it. And I'll be free to find someone who actually deserves to be seen with me. Cold, man, but smart, Brandon said. Just make sure you get a good prenup. Already handled. She was so excited about the wedding that she signed everything without really reading it. Her lawyer even advised her to review it more carefully, but she said she trusted me completely. They all laughed again, and I heard their footsteps moving away, back toward the dining room. I sat on that bathroom floor for 20 minutes, just breathing, trying to process what I'd heard. The man I was supposed to marry tomorrow, the man I'd been planning to spend my life with, had just told his friends that I was embarrassing, pathetic, and not worthy of being seen with him. He'd admitted that our entire relationship was a lie, that he was using me for my money and my business connections. But the worst part was how completely I'd believed him. Every compliment, every I love you, every time he told me I was perfect just as I was. All lies. And I'd fallen for every single one. I listened to the recording 3 times before I stood up. My voice was crystal clear, and so was theirs. Every horrible word was captured perfectly. I saved the recording to my phone, uploaded it to my cloud storage, and sent a copy to my email. Then I fixed my makeup, took a deep breath, and walked back to the rehearsal dinner. There you are, Marcus said when I returned, wrapping his arm around my waist. I was starting to worry. Just making sure everything was perfect, I said, smiling up at him. Tomorrow's going to be such a special day. The most special, he agreed, kissing my forehead. I can't wait to call you my wife. I spent the rest of the evening watching him perform. Every smile, every laugh, every loving glance was an act. He was so good at it that if I hadn't heard the conversation, I never would have suspected anything. He held my hand during the toasts, whispered sweet things in my ear, and played the role of the devoted fiancé perfectly. When the evening ended, he walked me to my car and kissed me goodnight. See you at the altar, beautiful, he said. I love you so much. I love you, too, I replied. And for the first time in our relationship, I was the one lying. I went home and didn't sleep at all. I sat on my couch listening to the recording over and over again, planning what I was going to do. I thought about just calling off the wedding, disappearing, maybe sending the recording to a few people privately. But then I thought about all the times he'd made me feel grateful for his attention, all the times I doubted myself because he was out of my league. I thought about the prenup I'd signed without reading carefully, trusting him completely. I thought about the business connections he'd mentioned, how he planned to use me and then discard me. I thought about how his friends had laughed at me, how they called me pathetic and embarrassing. By morning, I knew exactly what I was going to do. The wedding was at 4 p.m. I got ready with my bridal party at the venue, just like we planned. Zoe kept commenting on how calm I seemed, how radiant I looked. I did look good. I'd chosen a dress that made me feel beautiful, and for the first time in months, I wasn't second-guessing myself. I knew my worth, and I knew Marcus didn't deserve me. I went through all the motions, hair, makeup, photos with my bridesmaids. I even did the first look with Marcus, where the photographer captured his reaction to seeing me in my dress. He told me I looked stunning, that he was the luckiest man alive. I smiled and thanked him, all while planning his public humiliation. The ceremony was everything I'd planned it to be. The flowers were perfect. The music was beautiful. The venue looked like something out of a magazine. Our 180 guests were seated, Marcus and his groomsmen were at the altar, and I was about to walk down the aisle with my father. You ready, sweetheart? My dad asked. More than ready, I said. I walked down that aisle with my head held high. Marcus was beaming at me, his eyes bright with what I now knew was anticipation for the financial security I represented. His groomsmen were smiling, too, probably thinking about how they'd have to pretend to be happy for their friend's pathetic wife. The officiant began the ceremony, and everything proceeded normally until it was time for the vows. Marcus went first, talking about how I'd changed his life, how I'd made him a better man, how he couldn't wait to spend forever with me. If I hadn't heard the recording, I might have cried. Instead, I just smiled and nodded. Then it was my turn. I had prepared traditional vows. I began, speaking clearly into the microphone so everyone could hear. But last night, I discovered something that changed everything. So instead of vows, I have something else I'd like to share. I pulled out my phone. I could see confusion on Marcus's face, along with a few guests. The officiant looked uncertain, but I was already connecting my phone to the sound system we'd set up for the music. "This is a recording from last night's rehearsal dinner," I announced. "I think it's important that everyone here knows exactly what kind of man Marcus really is." The first few seconds were quiet, just the sound of footsteps and muffled conversation. Then Tyler's voice came through the speakers, clear as day. "Dude, you sure about this? Like, really sure?" I watched Marcus's face go white as he realized what was happening. His groomsmen looked horrified. The guests were starting to murmur, trying to understand what they were hearing. As the recording continued, the murmurs turned to gasps. When Marcus's voice came through the speaker saying I was embarrassing and pathetic, I heard my grandmother actually gasp out loud. When he talked about closing his eyes during sex, my father stood up from his seat. By the time the recording reached the part where Marcus admitted our entire relationship was a business transaction, the venue was dead silent, except for the sound of his own voice betraying him. 2 years of playing the devoted husband, building my client base, saving money. Then I'll find some reason to leave her. Probably say we grew apart or something. She'll be devastated, but she'll get over it. And I'll be free to find someone who actually deserves to be seen with me. When the recording ended, I looked directly at Marcus. His face was red, his mouth was opening and closing like a fish, and his groomsmen were backing away from him. "I thought you all deserved to know who you were really celebrating today," I said into the microphone. "As for me, I'm going to celebrate the fact that I dodged the biggest bullet of my life." I handed the microphone to the officiant, gathered up my dress, and walked back down the aisle. The venue erupted behind me. Some people were shouting, others were crying, and I could hear Marcus trying to explain himself, claiming the recording was taken out of context. Zoe caught up with me in the bridal suite. "Oh my God, Sophia," she said, pulling me into a hug. "I can't believe he said those things about you." "I can't believe I almost married him," I replied. My parents arrived a few minutes later, both looking stunned but supportive. My father was angrier than I'd ever seen him. "That boy is lucky I'm not 20 years younger," he said. "How dare he talk about my daughter like that?" "Dad, it's okay," I said. "I handled it." "You certainly did," my mother said, wiping away tears. "I'm so proud of you for standing up for yourself." We left through the back entrance while the chaos continued in the main venue. I later heard that Marcus tried to salvage the situation, claiming I had edited the recording or that it was a joke taken out of context. But too many people had heard the sincerity in his voice, the genuine laughter when his friends called me pathetic. His parents apparently tried to defend him at first, but even they couldn't explain away what everyone had heard. Several guests left immediately, and those who stayed seemed to be there more for the spectacle than any celebration. It's been 2 weeks since the wedding that wasn't, and the fallout has been more intense than I expected. The recording went viral almost immediately. Apparently, several guests filmed my phone playing the audio and posted it online. It's been shared thousands of times across different platforms, usually with captions like, "Bride exposes groom's true feelings at the altar," or "This is why you shouldn't talk trash about your fiancé." Marcus has been trying to control the narrative, but it's not working. He posted a long statement on social media claiming that the recording was taken out of context and that his friends had pressured him into saying things he didn't mean. He painted himself as the victim of a vindictive ex-fiancé who couldn't handle a joke. The response was brutal. Hundreds of people commented on his post, many of them sharing their own stories of being betrayed. Women were thanking me for having the courage to expose him publicly. Even some of his own colleagues started distancing themselves from him. The real vindication came when other women started reaching out to me privately. 3 different women contacted me through social media to share their own experiences with Marcus. Apparently, this wasn't the first time he'd used someone for financial gain while planning his exit strategy. One woman, Lisa, had dated him 2 years before me. She said he convinced her to co-sign a lease on an expensive apartment, then broke up with her 6 months later, leaving her responsible for the rent. Another woman, Jennifer, had loaned him money to invest in a business opportunity that never materialized. He promised to pay her back after we got married. The most shocking contact came from someone I'd never heard of, a woman named Amanda, who said she'd been seeing Marcus for the past 4 months. She'd had no idea he was engaged and was horrified when she saw the viral video. Apparently, he told her he was single and looking for something serious. I forwarded all of these messages to my lawyer, whom I'd hired to help me navigate the financial mess Marcus had created. The prenup he'd been so proud of tricking me into signing turned out to be less bulletproof than he thought. My lawyer found several issues with it, including the fact that Marcus had lied about his assets and income when we drafted it. The wedding vendors were surprisingly understanding about the cancellation. Most of them had heard what happened, and several actually thanked me for the business referrals they'd received from people who were impressed with how the event had looked, even under the circumstances. Marcus tried to contact me several times in the first week, alternating between angry accusations and pathetic apologies. He claimed that he'd only said those things to impress his friends, that he really did love me, and that we could work through this if I'd just give him a chance to explain. I didn't respond to any of his messages. I'd heard everything I needed to hear in that bathroom hallway. The hardest part has been dealing with the mutual friends who are trying to remain neutral. Several people have suggested that I should have handled it privately, that public humiliation was too harsh a punishment. But I keep thinking about what he said about me being so grateful for any attention that I believe whatever he told me. He was right about that. I had been grateful. I had believed him when he told me I was beautiful, when he said he loved me exactly as I was. And he'd used that vulnerability against me, planning to string me along for years before discarding me. The truth is, I don't regret what I did. I regret that I was with him for 2 years, that I almost married him, that I let him make me feel like I was lucky to have his attention. But I don't regret exposing him for who he really was. A month has passed, and I'm writing this from my new apartment. I decided to move out of the place Marcus and I had shared, even though legally I had every right to stay. I needed a fresh start, somewhere without memories of our fake relationship. The legal situation has been resolved in my favor. My lawyer was able to prove that Marcus had committed fraud when he lied about his assets during the prenup negotiations. We also discovered that he'd been using my business credit cards for personal expenses, including dates with Amanda. He's been ordered to pay restitution for the money he stole from my business, plus damages for the emotional distress and the cost of the wedding. His lawyer tried to argue that the public humiliation I caused him was punishment enough, but the judge wasn't sympathetic. The viral video has had unexpected consequences for both of us. I've received dozens of inquiries from potential clients who want to hire me for their weddings. Apparently, people are impressed by my attention to detail and my ability to handle crisis situations. I've booked 6 weddings for next year already, and I'm considering expanding my business. Marcus, on the other hand, has struggled professionally. Several of his clients have terminated their contracts with him, and his real estate firm has quietly let him go. The viral video shows up when you search his name, and it's apparently affecting his ability to build trust with new clients. I heard through mutual friends that he's moved back in with his parents and is considering a career change. His relationship with Amanda didn't survive the scandal. The most satisfying development came last week when I received a message from his mother, Patricia. She apologized for not seeing through her son's behavior sooner and said she was ashamed of how he treated me. She asked if there was anything she could do to make amends. I told her that the best thing she could do was help Marcus understand the impact of his actions, not just on me but on all the women he'd hurt. I suggested therapy, which she said she'd already recommended to him. I've started therapy myself, not because I'm damaged by what happened, but because I want to understand how I missed the red flags. My therapist has helped me see that Marcus was skilled at manipulation, that he deliberately targeted my insecurities and used them against me. The most important thing I've learned is that my worth isn't determined by whether someone else finds me attractive or valuable. I'm successful, kind, intelligent, and yes, beautiful, not because Marcus told me so, but because these things are true, regardless of his opinion. I'm not dating anyone right now, and I'm not looking to. I'm focused on rebuilding my business, strengthening my relationships with family and friends, and figuring out who I am outside of Marcus's shadow. The viral video has started to fade from social media, but its impact on my life has been permanent. I'm stronger now, more confident, and I trust my instincts in ways I never did before. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time, even if they're showing you in a bathroom hallway when they think you can't hear. Marcus taught me that love isn't about being grateful for someone's attention or trying to be worthy of their approval. Real love is about finding someone who sees your worth from the beginning and never makes you question it. I'm still a wedding planner, and I still believe in love stories. I just believe in better ones now, ones where both people are genuinely happy to be seen together, where nobody has to pretend or perform or count down the years until they can escape. As for Marcus, I hope he gets the help he needs and stops hurting people. But mostly, I hope he learns that true partnership isn't about finding someone who's grateful for your attention. It's about finding someone whose attention you're grateful for in return. The girl who almost married him would have spent years trying to prove she was worthy of his love. The woman I am now knows that his love was never worth having in the first place. And that makes all the difference. Alrighty, everyone. It's finally time to read and see what the people had to say about this one. The first comment says, Sophia's regal composure as she cued that recording gave me chills. She transformed her worst fears into her strongest moment. Hearing Marcus's own words broadcast back at him was both cathartic and empowering. Now, let's listen to the next one that says, not only did Sophia serve him justice at the altar, but her post-rec glow-up, new apartment, booming business, viral acclaim, is the ultimate redemption arc. This is how you turn betrayal into a breakthrough.